Hello, everybody. This is Fernando for the latest Godzilla podcast. Well, we finally have the very first, I guess you could call it still a teaser of sorts, given out for the new Godzilla Resurgence film, the one that's going to be coming out in Japan sometime this summer, presumably around July or so. So, let's talk about that trailer here. I've included a link below. A quick recap, though, for those of you that haven't been seeing my Godzilla videos in a long time, and it has been a while. Again, I cannot post anything as far as the actual footage here. Toho is so strict about these things. That's why it's just a podcast with anything related to Godzilla. But click on the link below and then you'll see the official trailer on YouTube. Check it out before we talk about it here, and then that way you'll know exactly essentially what's happening through and through. But otherwise, I'm still considering a teaser of sorts because there's no dialogue, there's only music, there's no discernible plot of any sort other than, of course, if you consider the plot to be Godzilla being attacked within the city by the military and then him trouncing throughout the city. But it's a mishmash of a bunch of shots all together showcasing footage from the film. So here's my thoughts on the actual teaser. For starters, it's a very strange teaser. I was gonna say that it was gonna be a little bit like on the bad side, but then I started to think, maybe this is how teasers and trailers are made in Japan, a lot different than it would be here in the US. For example, right up front, you get the very first shot, one of the very first ones, Godzilla's face in all of his glory. Compare that to the Godzilla 2014 film, where you could barely see anything, let alone his face, for most of the teasers and trailers, and it shows a world of difference between the two cultures. But there he is in his full glory. It looks like those leaked shots, the ones that were presented a couple of months back, were absolutely spot on. His body looks horrific, like it's completely charred with what looks to be reddish, bloodish, almost marks scarred throughout his entire body. He has a deep charcoal look to him. I think this is by far the darkest looking Godzilla yet. He has those beady little eyes, those little white eyes that again look totally different from any of the other Godzilla films. And then on top of that, his teeth look so mangled, look so jagged, almost as if they are painful to his mouth. So we're talking about a body and a look of Godzilla that is completely different than anything ever seen. Of course, they kept though his trademark roar, no change on that part. So that was a good thing at least to see. But the rumors are that there's going to be changes within his body throughout the film. So what we're looking at now, and again why I call it a teaser of sorts, is because the rumor is his body's going to shift later on to more of a traditional Godzilla style, the one that you and I know of. So what does the rest of the teaser consist of? Well, there are some really, really good shots showcasing Godzilla in his scope. For those shots, I love the one, for example, near the beginning where it shows his tail sweeping up, like let's say throughout some buildings, not touching them, but still sweeping above them. And the point of view within the scene is as if you are down below watching this in all your glory. I mean, it showcases the full mammoth size of Godzilla just through his tail alone. And then there are, of course, the traditional shots, like in much of the other Godzilla films, where you see him in the distance marching forward with people running towards the camera or running somewhere near the camera, running away from Godzilla. By the way, much as we talked about his size, and he definitely looks much larger here than any other incarnation. So those rumors are true. When Legendary's Godzilla 2014 was touted as the biggest sized Godzilla, now in this case, this Godzilla Resurgence film, this one is going to be much, much taller. So some of the shots, in fact, where he's trouncing through the city, I mean, it showcases he towers over many of the buildings. So definitely by far one of the tallest ones here. Now, the criticisms that were within the teaser, number one, I'm hoping that Godzilla will have a little bit more motion because he moved very, very slowly within the film, like within the shots. Like he's basically not even a slow jog or anything. Like he's moving at almost like a standstill pace. So I'm wondering if they're saving him doing a little bit more action sometime later on, or if that's just pretty much him throughout the film. So it'll be interesting to see if he starts to move forward. And then on a technical standpoint, I don't know what this trend is, but unfortunately, it looks like it is here within this film too. There's this crazy trend that's happening within movies nowadays. It was in the Civil War. I'm sorry, not the Civil War. The Winter Soldier film for Captain America. It was in the Avengers, the second movie. It was in now what looks to be the Civil War film. It was in Man of Steel as well. Didn't really much see it in Batman vs Superman, thankfully, but the trend is it seems like the colors now within films are desaturated. Like instead of showcasing them in their vibrancy, it seems like they're almost Instagrams. Like it looks paler. It looks like if you were to take the color of your remote control and be able to change the intensity of it on the screen, like it's purposely moved towards the left where it's decreased. And sure enough, it looks like this film has that too, because the shots that showcase Godzilla, and then of course the people walking around, I don't know, I have no idea who those actors are, but a lot of them are being shown with intense faces. Every single one of those shots showcases that Instagrammed look. I don't like that. It's just a personal, I guess, negative thing on my end. I wish that movies were more focused on showcasing the beautiful colors that they have the ability to do so, make it look real rather than looking at Instagram. But it looks like unfortunately that's what's happening here. And then on top of that, the only other criticism is talking again about all those actors. It looks like we're gonna get a lot of serious stuff within the film. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing when it comes to some of the Godzilla films, like the Godzilla 1984 film, 1985 one, my favorite. Obviously, it took things pretty seriously there too. But in this case, it seems like, and I'm reading criticisms of it also within the comments on various boards, is there's this trend in Japanese films where it's about showcasing actors in a really, really serious look. Like the more intensity, the better seems to be the trend, and it looks like in here it has fallen also with the Godzilla film. Again, these are all little snippets though, so if it remains to be seen how much of that is going to be within the film altogether, but at least based on what's shown, it seems like it is going to be a prevalent amount. The only other thing, it looks like the Godzilla Resurgence title is definitely kept for the film. So, but the thing that still remains mysterious is when this thing is going to be popping up here in the U.S. So, if anyone has any more information on that, that'll be interesting to see. Maybe more likely there's going to be a pause of sorts after the movie comes out in Japan to see how well it does, and then if it does well enough, then maybe we may even see something here in the US, in US theaters. Now that'll be a very limited run of sorts, but still, we may even get that part within the US. How crazy would that be? I think the last time there was an actual US Toho film here was back in the Godzilla 2000 days, so that's pretty cool. That would be pretty cool indeed. The only other thing I mentioned, the big highlight was it looks like all the build up towards the military shots of Godzilla. Those look fantastic. I mean, it showcases the usual stuff, the tanks, the missiles, people firing at Godzilla, and he's just wandering through. It looks like they're taking a more realistic approach in how this thing should look. So that would be pretty cool to see how it plays out in theaters. There's one particular shot where there's like a tank in the foreground and a Godzilla in the background amongst the buildings, and it looks amazing. And that's the kind of stuff that I look forward to when it comes to these Godzilla films. So great stuff. So what do you guys think? What is your opinion of the new Godzilla Resurgence teaser / trailer? If anyone has any more information, reactions, anything at all, please post them below. The movie seems to confirm too that it is indeed a man in suit. If that is not a man in suit, then that's a really good set of CGI that's being used for the film because it looks so lifelike. But it's man in suit back in style. It's funny that saying that goes, the old becomes the new and the new becomes the old. So in this case, it definitely looks like we have Godzilla man in suit back in action. So, alright everybody, thanks again as always. Take care.